What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your hostess, doing the mostest, Keilyn, and we are here with the last two episodes of Hide or Die Alone. I'm so sad. I feel two ways about it. Okay. One, I'm excited because I need to free up some time with these shows that I'm pushing out. Your girl is working day and night. And yeah, that's really the only thing. I'm sad because I also wish this was like a weekly release with just one episode at a time. And so in just 3 weeks, I'm done with the show, and it's a beautiful show. And yeah, I'm sad that it's over. So covering 2 episodes, these are the 2 episodes that I took the most notes on. So this is going to be more recap than it is review. So because of that, and because it's already going to be long anyways, I'm going to skip like, you know, who did what, directed what, this, that, and third. It will be in the show notes as always, as well as in the description box if you're watching this on YouTube. So look in there. The list is long, it's extensive, and I listed everybody, whether they covered episode 7, so it'll have a 7 next to it, or 8. If you don't see a number, it's because they did that position or that job on both episodes. So that's just me explaining all of that information there. And I'm gonna just put this on the front end. If you like what I'm doing, okay, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also follow me on Spotify. I almost lost my train of thought. You can follow me on Apple Podcasts. You can leave 1 to 5 star on there, and reviews. Oh my god, there's like so, my mouth is so like okay, I think my brain is just moving faster than my body is moving. Anyways, you can leave reviews on Apple Podcasts, but you can only do like 1 to 5 stars on Spotify. You can also look me up on Instagram at So There's That Podcast. And if you want to get into my mind, all up in my mind, find me on Twitter at Keilyn, where I'm typically there. It feels like I'm there all the time, even though I be getting like a solid 5 to 7 hours of sleep. I don't know how I do it, guys. I don't know. But anyways, enough about that. We're going to get right into episode 7. Okay, so before I get into like everything, I do want to shout out the music. Wendy Wang. So Wendy Wang did the music across episode 7 and 8, and it was just perfect. Like, y'all remember when like a scene in Insecure was playing where it was like a pivotal scene, like an emotional scene, and like the song would come on? She did that. And also the music supervisor was Keir Lehman as well on episode 7. But Wendy Wang did the music across both of them. Again, Onyx never misses. I don't think Onyx has a show that does not have like a banging ass soundtrack for their shows. So I'm always going to big up the music department for there. It literally just stands out. Also, the editor, Christine Armstrong. So you'll see in episode 7 and 8 that the editor and the director had a lot of fun. It's not as continuous as the first 4 episodes, and I think episode 6 kind of gave us a little bit of like that little montage and the dream sequence and everything like that. Across 7 and 8, like, we're going full like I'm in my own world and I'm in my own zone until the world fades away. And instead of the volume just maybe being turned down, the world literally like stops, and everybody's doing the mannequin challenge, or everybody's like involved in some type of celebration or something like that for the characters. And so instead of it being just a thought or looking at somebody daydream, you're brought in the daydream, almost like a play or like a musical in that way. So I thought this was a really creative way to show the awakening of self-love, self-worth, and the birth of self-actualization. She's not there yet, but that giddiness and that happiness that you feel when you're like, oh my God, like I'm discovering a new me, you know, you're feeling yourself, your wings are fluttering inside of your cocoon, and you know like it's almost time to come out of your shell, and you're just getting ready and you're just very excited for it. So they do all of that visually and very in your face across episodes 7 and 8. So I just wanted to put that out there as a disclaimer so I don't have to be talking about it and mention it twice across both episodes. Okay, Givenchy, shut up, get to the show. Episode 7 is called Kill Your Darling. And the question that is posed to the people on the street is, what is the craziest thing you've ever done for love? If you remember in the previous episode, we ended with Mel telling Allie and Tamika that she wanted to tell Alex how she felt, and Allie was like, I don't think this is gonna go well, but ruin his New Year's, not his wedding. Just go do it tonight. Like, if you're bold, go and do it. So we open it up. Allie is at the $1 van shop. Mel is at the $1 van shop, and she's thinking and she's contemplating, and the van is there, and he's like, girl, should I get off the pot? Like, I have things to do. I have places to be. This ride is only $1. Okay, I'm making probably less than minimum wage. What are we gonna do? So she finally gets on there, and she's mentally like going through like what she's gonna say. So while she's going through this and talking to herself, we see Alex going through TSA at the airport. He's going through, he's getting his bags, he's checking in, and she's just in the car like, Alex, I messed up like 2 years ago. Okay, no. And she's like in the middle, and it's 4 people. They're making hella stops. So the people inside the car with her are changing, but she's just like going through like all of these other things. One of my favorite things that she said inside this car was, she was like, Alex, I'm the Romeo to your Juliet. No, wait a minute. No. You know what? Let's not be heteronormative about this. Let's not be heteronormative. I am the Romeo to your Juliet. And I'm just like, girl, Kelly slipped out. Like, Kelly was all up and in this van. Natasha is so funny in the way that she delivers things, and I'm actually really surprised that nobody in that van told her to shut the hell up, because she was just going the whole ride. So she finally gets to the airport. So she's racing through the airport on the tracks car, and we also have Alex like going towards the gate, last call and blah blah blah. So he's at the gate. She pulls up, and as she pulls up, we don't see Alex, and she sees the plane taking off from the gate. So she's a little bit defeated, and how are we gonna get our hopes up and our feelings pieced back together? She goes to her favorite restaurant and orders her favorite meal. It's a Chinese restaurant that she used to work at, and she even has like a custom type order that she gets. So she's talking to Dara, who's the waitress there, and she's just telling her like, girl, I tried to go get my mans, but you know what? Maybe it's a sign, like it ain't meant to be or whatever. So Dara's like, cheer up, boo. Like, you're going to be good. Just enjoy this night. It's New Year's Eve, drinks on me. When she sees Alex come in to pick up a takeoff. It's too many plane references. A takeout order. And she tries to slide underneath the table, y'all. Obviously, it's not working. And so as he turns to leave, she's like, okay, play it cool. Just play it cool. And then does this fake ass loud sneeze, like right as he walks by. So everybody jumps to look at her because it sounded like she didn't cover her mouth. And he's like, oh, like, Mel, what's up? And she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I was one of those people who was running to the gate. I had left my bag in the office, and I had to go back and get it. And when I came back, like, the plane took off or whatever. So Mel invites him to eat, and honestly, I thought she was about to slip into that British accent that she did in Insecure when she was like, I'm from Poppycock, because she just started talking really weird. And I'm sure it's awkward and all her own internal feelings. Like, she was mentally getting ready to expunge herself of the thought of ever getting an opportunity to tell him this before the wedding. But she invites him to sit down and eat, and she's like, I see you still getting my order. And he was like, yep, right along with the crab rangoon. She was like, I'm not fucking with no crab rangoon no more. And you know, he's like, it's just food, like you gotta jump back on it, you know, at some point. And then she admits, like, I'm scared. Like, food could have killed, like, food killed me. Like, food killed me. And I definitely understand, like, the little bit of that PTSD. I mean, you think about when you eat something that's really nasty or really sour or really bitter, or you drink something that's disgusting, you can think about it and get repulsed by it. And so, obviously, when you have something that is as traumatic as dying, you're going to identify this object with your death. It's inevitable. So, I'm inevitable! Abbott Elementary is coming back. I had to do it. So he pretends that the Rangoon can talk, and he's like doing a little tray thing, and he's like, Mel, don't you want to take a bite of me? I'm delicious. It's not gonna hurt. And she's like kind of humoring him a little bit, and then she looks at it, but these are like real thoughts, and she's like, you know, I've been thinking about this for the last couple of months, and it's something that I've been really wanting to tell you, like, I miss you. And then she like realizes what's happening, and she's kind of like, yeah, so cool, you know, I'm accepting of the crab rangoon. So he's like, come on, Mel, just take a bite for me. And I'm like, the last episode of my podcast, I said that Mel was the problem, but honestly, both of y'all are the problem, because why are you giving me bedroom boom eyes and trying to convince me to eat some crab rangoon? Of course she takes the bait, and he's like, you safe now, Mel. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. I'm not gonna let nothing happen to you ever again so long as I'm around. Sir, senor, monsieur, like, what? What are we doing? So she takes a bite. Now, don't get me wrong. The chemistry between Natasha and Jocko, I love it so much. And it's just beautiful. So if there are women who see in themselves in Mel, like, man, y'all are winning right now. You're winning. It's a woman who people would try to tear down, like society would try to tear down, family members would try to tear down, and who she is and what she looks like is not the focal point of the show. So you get to just see her do the same things that you would see somebody who looks the opposite of her, and she just exists. And then she's also existing in this space where there's romance, not just one romantic partner, but two. We'll get to him later. And so yeah, I'm super duper happy about that. Just have to throw my 2 cents up in there, you know what I mean? So then she's eating it, and her lips wrap around the corner of the crab rangoon, and a little bit of crab drips on the corner of her mouth, and he says, this is almost worth missing the flight for. Oh really? Alex? Alexander? Missing the flight to your wedding? This was almost worth it? Eating was almost worth it. Okay, I want to know what's above almost. Can't be the wedding. It better be something else. Like, what are we doing? So then Alex pivots a little bit. He's like, so it's gonna be a lot of reenacting. Y'all about to see what I did my whole childhood leading up to this moment, okay? So I heard you was seeing somebody at work, you know? And Mel was like, I was, but like it was nothing. It's not that deep. Not seeing him anymore. Oh, okay. Was it Terrance? The only reason I'm not saying the N word right now is because they don't say it in the show, so it would be inappropriate. But insert expletive, because boy, don't act like you don't know his name. Come on. So we see a little bit of jealousy coming in from Alex, and it's just like, both of y'all are pulling on the strings to each other. Both of y'all are leaving something there and open between one another that is sending signals, basic air traffic controller signals to one another without necessarily naming the thing. Hey, because I'm working right now. All right, if y'all hear like a little bit of growls or whatever, my dogs are over here playing, because obviously that's what they need to do when I get on here. So I got 2 dogs. Say hey. Let's see here. Okay, so she kind of bypasses that and she was like, boy, you know exactly who it is or whatever. And she's like, look, Alex, I really need to tell you something. And you can see it in her face. The acting here is so good because you can see in her face like twitching from the decision of telling him this thing now, and also warring within herself with something else. And what we find out that she's at war with is, instead of telling him how she feels, she apologizes for some of the mean things that she said to him 2 years ago when he was professing his love for her. And he said, you know, I didn't know how much I needed to hear that. Thank you. And I really like this part because women will break up with men and it's always the man's fault. People get divorced, it's always the man's fault. And I'm not saying that they're absolved of anything. It takes 2 for a relationship to not work. Even if you're like good and objectively it's like good, it still takes 2 for things to go well, and it takes 2 for things to not go well. Otherwise there would be no coupling. And I like this, especially like in this moment, not only her apologizing to him, and it was an apology that was well overdue. I like that he received it and wasn't like throwing it back in her face. And I think that in a lot of relationships, I think that women, when you know that you were like wrong, don't just let things kind of go by. Like, men get hurt too. When he confessed his love, she was kind of like, oh boy, nah, hell no. Like, he's saying I love you, and then you're rejecting him in a way that would make him feel embarrassed. I'm surprised he even stayed friends with her after that. So I just really, really like this moment because it's reflecting growth and him allowing himself to be vulnerable in that moment with somebody he used to be with who once hurt his feelings. So I really like that. So since these are our confessions, Alex has a confession to make. He missed his flight on purpose. So she's like, okay. Oh, why you do that? And he's just stressed about the wedding planning and their parents and her friends and this, that, and the third, and everybody's like outside influence is causing them to fight over stuff that they don't even care about. One example being the color of his tie. His girl don't like it. I think her name is Tanya. He don't like it, but their parents, their mothers think that it's cute, and so they've been arguing over it or whatever. And he's just like, I just needed a night to breathe. And Mel was like, you know, I get it, like sometimes you just have to like put pause on things. So let's kind of pause the stress of things. It's New Year's Eve, and you know what, let's just have a night of it as friends. So they're walking down the street and he's telling her how he always imagined his wedding. Again, another thing that I like. Men, you are in the wedding too. You are allowed to have dreams too. Little girls, when you're thinking about your wedding, when you're like growing up, please leave space in your imagination for somebody to be across from you. Otherwise, what are we doing? So I just love that he's not running away from it because it's like he don't want to get married, but it's just like he's also getting that overwhelmed feeling that brides get when they're getting married, and he wants it to be his day. He wants to look a certain way, so he's talking about all these different like designs and patterns and what he used to think he would look like when he was a kid and how he would look and stuff like that. So they end up pulling up on like a vintage like tailoring shop, and it's closed, but Mel convinces the owner to open it up, and he's like, okay, I got 10 minutes, you know, make it do what it do. So he goes and he sees like it's like a royal purple tie, and he's never tied a tie before. He's only had clip-ons. So Mel's like, okay, come here. So they facing each other, and she's standing all close, and he's looking at her face. He's taller than her, but I'm gonna say that he was looking at her lips because I'm messy. And she's wrapping it around, and she's putting it on his neck, and this music starts to play, and it's so perfect. And they put it on, and she goes, Alex, all breathy and shit. And the owner was like, hey, wrap it up. Y'all can save that for the wedding day. Neither one of them corrects the owner. Okay. So again, they're walking, they're just talking, they're catching up, they're reminiscing, and we get on the topic of Mel like singing, like when she used to do theater and stuff back when she was younger. And he was like, you know, I know that you can sing. All them times that you thought I was asleep, I could hear you in the shower and stuff like that, but nobody's ever heard your voice, like you've never shared it. And she was like, you know, I would, like, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm that new girl. Okay, I'm not the old Mel that you knew from 2 years ago. Like, I do what it do. And he sees a karaoke bar across the street, and he was like, okay, let's find out. So they go in there. Let me tell y'all, if you ain't ever been to a popping karaoke bar, baby, you can't just pop in thinking that you finna get on the mic. It be 20, 30, 50 people ahead of you. And of course, they go in there and they're number 27 in line. So he's like, you know what? I'm sorry. You know, we could do this some other time. And right then, the guy on the mic that's kind of like organizing everything, he's calling for 2 people. And nobody answered, so she puts her hand up and she was like, oh, it's us, you know, come on up here. So the song that was chosen was I'ma leave the door open, I'ma leave the door open. And they're looking into each other's eyes, and he licking his lips. And she blinking all cute and all sultry and fluttery. When you read in a book where they say her eyes were drunk with lust, his eyes followed from the bridge of her nose to the cupid's bow of her mouth. This is what was happening. And what happens in that moment is just the 2 of them. And that's it, the rest of the world. So the music is still going, and everybody is stopped. So they're just kind of moving through life as if nobody else exists, or if nobody else is in their way through this whole song. And it's just different like clips and stuff of them just enjoying different things, going to the store to get some snacks. They got a 40 ounce and some canned black eyed peas. Oh my God. Tell me you want to go to the hospital without telling me you want to go to the hospital. Mel, this was not a good trip to the hospital the last time. I think you should be a little bit more careful. Anyway, so they go to a park bench and sit in front of a pond, and they toast their spoons for, you know, good luck or whatever. I don't eat black eyed peas, so I don't believe in the law. And then they eat it and they spit it out because it's canned black-eyed peas, girl. These ain't no damn baked beans, girl. They probably had that soggy ass okra in it. Ugh. Gross. So then he gets on, no, before that part. So they're reminiscing about, you know, he's like, you remember that time when I told you that my apartment was getting fumigated and I had to stay with you, and, you know, all these other things, and we had like a silly old time. And she's like, yeah, but I also remember that I broke the, like, you know, I broke the bed. And he was like, well, we broke the bed. He was like, yeah, that was a good time too. And I'm just like, oh, was it good times? Good times? Huh? We're watching the TV show now, huh? Oh, okay. And he was like, you know, I lied. And she was like, about what? He was like, you know, my apartment wasn't really getting fumigated. I just needed any excuse to be able to spend more time with you. And she's like, oh, Alex. I am sorry in advance, guys. I have not been drinking. This is literally just my brain. So he gets up and kind of breaks out of the moment. Yes, sir, because you're like, when you get ready to jump in on double dutch, to jump all the way in, that's where you at. You rocking back and forth. You rocking back and forth. Okay, so he gets on the pond and she's like, what the hell are you doing? And he was like, maybe we'll see the fireworks better from here. And he's getting on there. He's like, come on. She's like, hell no, I'm not getting on there. Like, so he's like jumping up and down, scaring her and stuff like that. So he's like, Mel, I got you. Just come over here. So she's easing on over and he goes to the edge and then he's talking to her and then they're just reminiscing, you know, even more and just sharing just this little moment and this, that, and the third. And then by the time they're done with the conversation, he tells her to look around her and she's in the middle of the pond. Now, it wasn't like a huge pond. It was cute. And in the middle of the pond, she's like, Alex, I have to tell you something. And he goes, oh, look, the fireworks are starting. And she's like, Alex, I really need to tell you something. And then he looks down to get her to look up and she grabs him by the face and kisses him. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. 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 And he breaks the kiss and walks off the ponds or glides upset. So she's like, Alex, she's trying to get off and he's just walking away from her. And she is like, he's like, why would you do that? And she's like, I've been wanting to be with you. I made a mistake 2 years ago and I just can't stop thinking about you and I really wanted to get this off my chest. And he was like, and what did you seriously think was going to happen? Like, you're still the same Mel. And she's like, no, I'm not the same Mel. He was like, you literally don't think shit through. She's like, I thought this through. I thought all of this through and I'm at the point in my life where I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines and I want to do something that is for me. He says, okay, so since you thought about it so much, let's think about this. I'm supposed to not marry Tanya, make everybody waste their money on the tickets because they flew out there for us, not only embarrass her family, but also embarrass mine and us. Tell me that you thought this through without telling me that you thought this through. So she's like, you know, if you didn't feel anything for me, we wouldn't have the night that we had tonight. And that is true. Clock him, whack him. Because she was taking some beatings right there. But, you know, fight back. Stand up. And she was like, tell me that you don't love me. Tell me. Tell me that you don't love me and I'm going to let it go. And he goes, tell me that you do love me. And Mel is choking on the words. She can't. At all. And she's crying and she's like, I'm so scared. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so scared. I really want to and I want to say it. I just, please, Alex, I just feel so much for you. Like, I just can't. And he was like, thought so. Mel, I wish you could have let yourself be loved. And he got in the car and drove off, guys. I'ma leave this door open. I'ma leave the door open. It's closed now, though. So anyways. Mel, you didn't deserve that. You kind of did, though, because Allie told you. Allie told you. But sometimes people are hard-headed, and she is very hard-headed. And it's like I said in the last episode, you're taking this newfound confidence and you're putting it in the wrong, like, boxes. Like, you're trying to put a rectangle in a square. You're near, like, the shape is near, but it's not a perfect fit. And that's where she's, like, putting her confidence in, like, the wrong spots. That was a terrible decision for her to do. Let's say the whole night was perfectly platonic. Again, he had something open and lingering there. So this is not on her, like, totally not her to blame. But I also feel like he got mad because she named the thing that's within them. So sometimes it's like when you're flirting with someone and they're flirting with you back, you know you don't want anything to come from it, but it just feels nice to feel desired, and it feels nice to feel comfort with someone without an overt or an immediate expectation of any type of physical contact or physical connection. You're just there and sharing. Emotional bonds come from it, but you tell yourself in your mind, we're just friends, it's nothing, you know, we haven't done anything or whatever. And both parties do it. But then when the person names the thing, it ruins the fantasy inside of the other person's mind, because they never wanted it to go a certain way or go too far, and now it's ruined because you called this thing a thing, and now there's guilt associated with it because it's said out loud. That is what Alex's reaction reminded me of. And I honestly believe if Mel would have said, I love you, I believe he would have called that wedding off. I don't know. Let's see what happens in episode 8. So episode 8 is titled Get Lost. And this is the season finale. And we just have like videos of people on the street, but Mel is the one doing the voiceover, and it's all about like New Year's resolutions and, you know, starting over and where we want to be and where we see ourselves. And I thought this was a really smart decision to have her close it out instead of the people on the street, because she is entering like this new era, especially after a big rejection like that. And I just laughed at her rejection too. Like, that wasn't nice. So, you know, new beginnings. So Mel is at the airport and she's questioning why she's doing this. And me too, girl. You're not about to leave me outside standing in the cold after you just dropped like some Romeo and Juliet line on me, then got in your car and left? No. So she's sitting there just in a panic, just having a whole bunch of thoughts when Rory, Jesus Christ, Aurora. Okay. When Rory walks up and he sits and they're like, hi, because they haven't really talked, right? But he asks her how she's doing because he knows she's afraid to fly. And so that kind of opens up that conversation for them to kind of slip back into somewhat of like an ease and comfortability of talking to each other. So she was like, yeah, you know, I am a little bit nervous about the flight, but truth. And he was like, okay, shoot. And she tells him what she told Alex. And he was like, truth? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, girl, what the fuck? What? Like, ugh. And she was like, I don't know why I couldn't tell him. And he was like, well, did you ever think that you were scared to tell him and couldn't tell him because you don't actually love him? And she asked the question that I think a lot of people ask when they think they're in love, especially people who are like chronic relationship people. And she says, if it wasn't love, then why do I feel like this? Uncoupling is still going to hurt. You still invested emotions. You still have memories, songs, food, certain places. It's all connected, but you have to be able to distinguish grieving like a loss of, you know, something that was good, but you just grew out of it, versus like grieving a loss of like the love of your life. Those are two different things, and she's probably never really been in love. So for the first time, like many other firsts that she's having to navigate her own feelings of like, what is this thing then? And Rory's like, so if that's the case, I have to ask, like, why are you still coming? And she's like, you know, I hyped this trip up so much, not only to myself but everybody else. I just feel like I have no choice but to go. And then that's when Ben walks up and Rory does like a formal introduction, but you know, they done heard about each other, this, that, and the third. And everything seems like super cool. Ben didn't make it seem like anything that was like, ooh, he been talking about you or whatever, because he knows Rory misses her. And everything was cool. They get to laugh and they get to chopping it up. And then the plane is getting ready to board. So she tells Rory, like, you know, I just need a couple of more minutes, you know, get my thoughts together or whatever. So then the desk attendant is up there, you know, doing their little announcements, like, you know, the plane is full. All overhead cabins are full. All the seats are full. So if you're willing to take a later flight, we're offering $1,000 voucher towards another flight. And then they're like, hey, everybody, listen, it is full. Okay, not regular full. So we'll give you $2,000 for this flight. And then the attendant switches to Mel, and she's like, hold on, I wrote it down. Is there seriously not one dumb bitch willing to give up her seat to save her dignity? Not one dumb bitch in this crowd. And so she's like looking at herself with this mental projection. And Mel jumps up, I'm that dumb bitch. Everybody looking at her like, okay. So she goes up, and the attendant was like, girl, this is first class, baby. What are you doing? And she was like, look, I don't know what you need to do, but I am the dumb bitch who's gonna get on this first class ticket to go to my ex's wedding. Even after last night, I confessed that I still really love him. So I want to go through as many different layovers to make sure that I miss this whole wedding. So the girl was like, girl, I understand. And has like 6 or something different layovers that makes it so that she wouldn't get to Hawaii until 2 days later. So she takes like a sigh of relief. And also I do too, because this was a terrible idea. So she goes to Charlotte and she calls Terrance. Terry, hey boo. So, well, she texted him. She sent him a selfie. He immediately got on the phone because Armstrong, she got me doing things I never do. You ain't then I'm telling you, you do. You do. You do. You do. Okay. So I should have finished that part, because the last time I was singing, I got threatened and they were like, I was about to sing the song. Keep singing it in your house, I guess. So they're talking and chopping it up, and he's on the flight line, so he's taking a little break to call her or whatever, and he is cheesing broader than the Cheshire Cat, bro. And the homies, they were there like making fun of him, teasing and doing all this other stuff, and he sticks his middle finger up at him, but he's smiling even harder. Like, he's fully leaned into the fact that he is crushing on Mel. Is it love? You keep letting her eat your food, but I'm not gonna call it that. I'm not gonna name it a thing, because dating is fun. When you date and continue to hit those milestones and get to know each other and truly become friends while building a romantic relationship, it's even better. And Terrance has already showed us a little bit of how attentive he is, how considerate he is, how he gives her things that she needs or that she would want, and not giving her the things that he would want her to have. We've already seen these qualities in Terrance, so I'm Team Terrance. So if we're doing teams, Team Terrance, okay? So he was like, you know, what's next? And instead of doing like the layover that would still get her all the way to Hawaii, she changes her ticket and she goes to Chicago. So she ends up going to this diner that Elise used to go to when she was in Chicago. So we already know Mel had like her belongings and stuff like that, and she saw this old picture of Edward's Diner in Chicago. So she got her Chicago Bulls hat on. I'm gonna be in Chicago real soon. I love my city. And she's eating or whatever, and the guy was like, you know, you new here? And you know, they're just chopping it up. The I don't want to call him a waiter because I feel like he owns it. I believe he owns it. He's the owner. I'm gonna call him the owner. So black owned business. And they're talking, and she's like, yeah, you know, a friend of mine recommended this, and so I decided to just come here and check it out. And the picture falls out of this book, and he recognizes her, and so they talk about it, and she's like, you know, she passed, you know, were you two together? And he was like, we were together as much as she wanted us to be together, and you know, we was getting it in, doing our thing, but she just wasn't like a relationship person, and he respected it or whatever, but he never stopped thinking about her. And for some reason, god awful, terrible reason, Melissa out of nowhere is like, can I confess something to you? So like when she died, I used her money to pay for this trip. And he was like, I should call the cops on your ass right now, but let's trade. I won't say nothing about you scamming if you let me keep the picture. And he's like, you know, you look like you're in a place in life where you really need like kindness, and you have a lot of questions. There's a lot of discovery that needs to happen for you. And so she feels grateful, and these white dudes is walking behind her with like these Vikings hat on. They're drunk, they're loud, but they all are kind of dressed similarly. So she's like, what's going on? And he was like, every year the white boys be going into the beach and going into the water for a penguin dive. So she looks and she's like, that, you know what, fuck it. So she goes out there and she's looking at the waters, she's looking at the ocean, and you finally see peace on her face. And she strips down to her bra and panties, and she gets into this cold ass water. Y'all, I am from Chicago. That water is never hot. That baby is cold all year long, I'm telling you. So, but when you just plunge, you know, it is what it is. The shock of it is gonna be great. So she does it, and we're proud. Yay! Self-actualization is almost here. I love it when people realize I'm companion enough for myself these days. I'm always gonna quote Interview with a Vampire, so deal with it. So she comes back, she's at the airport, she got her penguin dive gear on. She's such a tourist, but I love it. I lived in Chicago for a really long time, but I did not tour Chicago until I was 29. And it was a really fun time. I had a great time. And so she's at the airport and she's trying to stop the person that was on their tracks, like cart. I think I'm gonna call it a cart. And the girl was like kind of in a hurry, and she was like, hold on girl, like I work tracks too, like I definitely get it. I just want to know like where's the best place to take a nap. I'm here early and I just want to like get some peace and quiet. And she was like, oh girl, you in the right place, like this is the perfect place for you to go. She's like, where you work at? And she was like, you know, I'm going back home to New York, I work at JFK. And so they're just kind of like chopping it up and just finding like some interesting, like, you know, little black girl bond right here. And Mel tells her that she just finished up the managerial course, and the girl, because she was like, man, I would love to work at JFK, but she was like, ooh, you know, I should do that. I have been thinking about it because you can go ahead and just transfer between jobs. And Mel didn't know that with that position you can literally like transfer to another place without having to go like fully through like the starting from scratch hiring process. So it's a nice little exchange of maybe we might see this character in season 2 if she does the managerial course and then gets transferred to JFK. I don't know, but it looked like a friendship was budding to me. And that's also another thing that I love, is going back to when Brian was like, open your eyes, you are loved. She is now in a space of accepting the love. Even Alex's words, I wish you would have let yourself be loved. And she is loved. And when you are in this space where you love yourself and you're open in that manner, not necessarily in a naive way, but something in you is just open, it allows for genuine connections and conversations like this, where somebody may come to you hostile because they're used to a hostile environment. You're capable of being like, hold on, wait a minute, how are you? Like, how are you doing? Like, I just want to say hi. You have the strength and the capabilities to disarm people with kindness when you yourself are love. So I'm really loving seeing this. So it was cute interaction, and now we're on the plane ride, and she's good. She is good. And she calls her brother to let him know like she's coming back. So their relationship obviously is like a little bit better, and she leaves him a voicemail. So he's in the car, and everybody's like, he's in the car with the kids, the wife, everything like that, and she's just like, hey bro, like I had the best time, I'm super happy that I chose myself. Also, remember when I sued that furniture store for that faulty equipment? guess what? I just got my settlement check approved. So you have one less kid to worry about, unless you still cheating on Sarah and you got another baby out there that you don't know about. She's shaking the table because he has it on Bluetooth speaker in the car. And so Brian looks at Sarah and he's like, these just jokes. So she's getting off the plane and we see Terrance waiting to receive her at JFK, and he's all smiling when she gets off and she sees him, and she moves her bag off to the side. I don't know why. Your bags are never supposed to be unattended. Ma'am, you work in an airport. And she walks up to him and they have their little dirty dancing coming to each other moment when out of nowhere she gets tackled like a linebacker to the ground. And it was a TSA agent who tackled her that works there, and she was like, I keep telling you, like, I work here, dude, like, you know me. And two uniformed police officers come over and pick her up and they arrest her, and they say, are you Melissa Jackson? She says yes. Terrance is like, what is going on? And they were like, you are under arrest for fraud. So there's that, guys. The season finale, episode 7 and 8 of How to Die Alone. Oh my God. Wow. What a ride. What's my time? 47 minutes? Oh, that's not bad. The camera be shutting off at like 59 minutes. Guys, talk to me. Talk to me nice in the comments, because I need to know what y'all think. What is happening in season 2? Like, it is so crazy. It is so crazy. Right when things are great, here comes consequences. Womp, 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 coming over like Pac-Man and got her ass. And it's why is Mel getting, like, I am whacking Mel. It's unintentional. Man, my God, she was on such a high and she was about to get her true man. But then the man got her. Clink, clink. Like, it's time to go to jail. And it's so funny because I mentioned this on How to Die Alone's Hulu's page on Hulu's page. Yeah, with an S. And I was like, Mel, baby, this is still a crime. And they're gonna send me the eyes. Now, I had already seen it anyway. So, you know, I'm just doing my thing because I'm interacting, you know, on the socials and stuff like that. I don't want to ruin it for anybody else. But I had made that comment before I saw episode 8. So I had only seen like episode 7. And so then I saw them like give me the emoji eyes, and then I finished like watching it and I was like, yo, I don't know that I saw her getting caught this season. So wow, what an ending. It's like a cliffhanger, but not, because did Alex still go through with the wedding? I don't know, because those were some really big feelings that was happening in episode 7, and you kissed her back for a little bit. I have such big feelings. Yes, you do. So what happened at the wedding? Can you explain what's going on? Are we going to open up with a trial? Is she going to be on probation? Are we already going to go through with like the disciplinary? She will have to pay everything back, and the $17,000 that she got from the settlement will go back to the estate of Elise, and she'll be back at 0 and also a felon. She can't work at JFK no more. I'm gonna need Rory's dad to like pull some rich white man voodoo and see if he can get her record expunged. At this point, she got a record. We're not escaping it. I don't know how she could talk her way out of this. And it sucks because she also inadvertently outed her brother. So will her brother even be there? They're just now working on repairing their relationship. Will he be there? Because he's going to blame her. Duh. That's exactly what he's going to do. The mama already talks down on her. So will she be there to support her, or will she just look at her and be like, you're always making terrible decisions. This is why Brian is the better child, and this, that, and the third. And will this situation cause Rory to actually step up in a really big way? Because one of the things that they contended with, which broke them up in the first place, is the fact that Rory was kind of selfish in the friendship and choosing other things at times where she needed him the most. And he already wouldn't co-sign for her loan so that she could pay off her medical bills. So this would be a good way, if not bail, just being in her corner in the courthouse, because she's going to jail. But those are just my thoughts, y'all. It's been a ride, it's been a flight, and it's been so lovely. So this is Givenchy signing off. I hope that you enjoyed your flight. Let me stop. I swear to y'all, I am not on any substances. Just dopamine in my brain. I can't believe this is the last time I'm talking about this show for like a year. Natasha, kudos to the entire team. This was beautiful. It was wonderful. It's a great story, and I've literally seen every episode at least 3 times. It has rewatch value like crazy. Definitely I would watch it over the holidays. Like, and it's just such a feel good show. It gives me Hallmark in like a well-written format. Bro, I'm on a roll. Yeah, so that's gonna be all. I will see y'all in the next episode for another show. Bye.